Time just gone 14 minutes past 6 o'clock. And it's Education Station. Now, tonight's focus is what are the scarcest skills in South Africa. Now, as the country battles high unemployment rates, it is striking to note that there are no sufficient applicants with qualified skills for available career opportunities. Disturbing findings on the scarcity of professionals in some fields has gained widespread coverage in the recent past, following the employer frustrations to find adequately skilled workers. Now, as a result, many South African workers are now asking which skills are most in demand by employers. If you'd like to be part of the conversation on the WhatsApp line 0786 10 11 12. On the telephone line, 0216991786. To tell us a bit more, Marisa Jacobs. Good evening, Marisa, and welcome.
Good evening, Lukman. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for taking the time, Marisa. For those of listeners who would like to know more, give us a bit of brief history on your experience and professional experience, that is.
Sure. So I work for a company called Xpatweb. I head up the immigration sector of the company. We're the largest provider for South Africans leaving the country and then also for foreign nationals working in the country from an immigration and tax planning perspective.
Okay, great. And obviously this type of topic is one of, crucial, especially in these days as well. We've got a high unemployment rate, but at the same time, job seekers need to know where they stand. They need to know, what's expected from employers, as well. So what, in your opinion, maybe take us through some of the list of skills shortages in South Africa, Marisa?
Sure. So the Department of Home Affairs publishes a list of those skills that are deemed to be critical in the country. They take into consideration the list of occupations in high demand, list that's published by the Department of Higher Education. It gets input from the Department of Labour, and then, of course, from the business sector in terms of what skills do they struggle to recruit. Mm-hmm. And then they put together a list of these are the skills that are deemed to be critically skills in South Africa where the demand outweighs supply. And they published the previous list in 2014 when the Immigration Act was amended. So there's a list published by the department, and it means that employers can use this list to apply for a critical skills visa for anyone who fills an occupation on that list, and then obviously that has the education, skills, and background and experience to prove that they are capable of filling this position. And employers would then use that list to recruit for these skills beyond the borders of South Africa and try to attract and retain skills from abroad to fill these skills occupations.
I see. Now, as you said, the last skills list was released in 2014. Now, has the list of skills shortages in South Africa changed between then and now?
Absolutely. So the Department of Higher Education released a list towards the end of 2018, and the Department of Home Affairs is in the process of updating their list accordingly as well, and it's expected to be released, in fact, in April this year, an updated list, because obviously there's emerging sectors in terms of the fourth industrial revolution, AI, the whole ICT sector is taking forefront. There is oil and gas finds, which is definitely opening up new opportunities. So with new emerging markets and changes in the country in terms of projects, mm-hmm. new skills are needed, and we see that worldwide, where occupations that didn't exist 10 years ago are now emerging, and so the list needs to be updated to account for those new occupations.
I think with the fourth industrial revolution looming in South Africa, I would imagine there's a certain amount of skills that will be needed in order to maintain.
Absolutely. We see, so Xpatweb runs the annual survey on critical skills shortages, and in the previous survey, the demand for ICT skills across the business sector just absolutely shot up. significantly. But it's not just ICT, it's even things like health sector. We've got a shortage of nurses and doctors. And as well as, remember, construction and project type of industries, that they need artisans, engineers. So it's across the board. So it's not confined to a certain sector. They are widespread shortages.
I see. A while ago, I met a group of people that were on a recruitment drive from, I think it was Scotland or Ireland, somewhere up there, somewhere in the UK. And they were on a recruitment drive to employ people like plumbers, electricians, the skilled type of work where people, we like to say, blue collar workers, type of thing. But there's a huge shortage in some parts of the world. Are we finding that here as well?
Definitely. So artisans have been on the skill shortage list for many years, and we have similar struggles in South Africa to find. It's not that, we must remember, the skill shortage list doesn't say that we do not have those skills in South Africa. It says the demand outweighs the supply. So while we don't have enough to serve the whole industry.
I see. Listeners, on the WhatsApp line 0786 10 11 12 or on the telephone line 0216 991786. Let us know your thoughts. You're in a particular industry, maybe you'd like to discuss and share some of your thoughts as well, would be absolutely great. Now, Marisa, according to the World Health Organization, I know it's commonly known as WHO, now South Africa has an average of one doctor and one nurse per 1,000 patients. Hospitals are crowded, but understaffed at the same time, as shortages of skilled professionals in this sector continues to be an issue generally. What does the industry have to say about what it is that they need as far as skills are concerned?
Yeah. When we released the survey results in 2018-2019 of the previous skill shortage list, there was a big spike in terms of the medical sector, and industry media was very surprised at this big spike. So there was a lot of discussion with the industry, and a couple of the guys came forward and released some results. So one of the things that they said is about half of nurses are currently employed in the medical sector are going to be retiring in the next 15 years.
Sure.
So there's an aging in terms of that sector, and then when they look at the uptake of nursing amongst young students who are entering the nursing industry or occupation, since 2013 that's declined by 40%. So there is, and the problem with this as well is nurses is a skill shortage skill worldwide. If you look at the UK list of skill shortage and the Australia list of skill shortages and the US list of skill shortages, you will see there is commonality across those. South Africa isn't in a unique position where we are struggling to find skills. We are competing worldwide with these skills, and you sit in a situation where a nurse, whether she's qualified in Zimbabwe, Australia or South Africa, she gets to, or he gets to have their pick of where they want to go because they are in high demand. So we see a lot of guys who qualify in South Africa are getting snatched up by other countries, and we have to compete even for our own skills. We have to compete internationally. So there is big concern in the industry, and I'm not sure what plans they had in place to address it, but they are most certainly aware.
How much of what is what happening in a country like South Africa, for example? We've got challenges with our power utility, we've got challenges with our economic crisis, we've got challenges left, right and center. How much of that contributes to people leaving our country and wanting to find work elsewhere? Does that add to that list?
It must do. I think there's a lot of factors that get taken into account. We've just recently travelled the DRC, the UK, the UAE, in terms of presenting to South Africans abroad on some tax changes that are coming up. But so we're speaking to a lot of South Africans abroad about are they coming back to South Africa? What made them make the decision? And some of them are just there on rotation to earn additional money, to plan for retirement. Some of them are very concerned about what's happening in South Africa and the current political, economical situation, and they need to have that second option. And a lot of them want to put themselves in a position where they can give their kids the opportunity to work internationally, get a second passport, and have those options. So the reasons are widespread.
Yeah.
The guys we see abroad are from young qualified students to professionals looking for international experience, right through to the guys who only have 5 or 10 years of work left in them and are looking to maximize their income by working internationally before they retire. So you can imagine the reasoning across those that spectrum would differ quite significantly.
Of course. And obviously, with any parent wanting to provide a better life for their child, be it education, health system, just an all-around general opportunity to experience life a bit better, that's what people would look for.
Absolutely. We see it all the time. That is for parents, that is the number one reason they cite that we have a chat.
You know, many years ago, I lived in the UK for a couple of years, and yes, while it was part of my learning and, you know, it's just experience in life, I always knew I wanted to come back to South Africa because, you know, we've got a rich country, history, all of that happening down here as well. Do you find that a lot of the expats have returned, or they prefer to stay there in various countries?
Sadly, the many of the people that we speak to are not planning on returning to South Africa. A lot of them have put down roots. A lot of them have taken their families with them. And even though they don't plan to, for example, retire in the DRC, they are planning to, once they are done with that assignment in the country they're currently in, their plan is absolutely to look for the next assignment in the next country, and not to return to South Africa. So sadly, it's not all of them, but I would say definitely more than 50% of the people we speak to are not planning to.
It's Education Station on Radio 786, and we're chatting to Marisa Jacobs, who's given us valuable information around tonight's topic: what are the scarcest skills in South Africa?